Then I squeeze it all out from this cheesecloth into a bowl. This is basically Everclear. With a reishi mushroom decoction in it. Now, squeeze out as much as I can, pour it into a jar. This is going to potentially double in volume, although I don't really know yet because it's quite a bit. You can see how big these pieces are. I basically packed 2 jars real tight with this stuff, and then I filled the rest with Everclear. So, and I took this cheesecloth and I squeezed it with my strength and got as much of it out as I could for a minute or two. And then I just take this rest of this reishi, this material, and I put it in a pot. Man, I should have a bigger pot for this. Should totally have a bigger pot for this. Yeah, I'm gonna run out of space because I've got this material plus that material, which was also a decoction. So 2 jars, roughly here. This is what we got. We got 2 jars. This size plus this size makes this much liquid, which is this is a 2-quart jar. So maybe it's 2 quarts. This is probably less than 2 quarts. It doesn't have grades on it. But when this is full, this is a 2-quart jar. So basically 2 of these, this is a half gallon. 2 of these full of chopped up reishi makes this much Everclear. Now, it's almost 2 quarts, and then I'm gonna cook it again, but however, I need another pot that's bigger to put all this stuff in. And this is it, my friend. So then we put all of our mushroom material into a large pot. Done this a few times, although this is the biggest volume that makes it real gratifying. And you don't have to use cheesecloth from the store. You can use muslin if you have some fabric. I hang on to fabric. As long as it's not heavily dyed or something, you can totally use it for this purpose. Even a t-shirt that doesn't have some weird colors on it. So there's some, but I've got more. So that's about half of what I need for this. Again, it's going to be, it could potentially be, based on the recipe, I've got room for that to basically double in size for me to have a gallon of double decoction. So, which is a lot. It's a lot more than what's typical, but I just kind of lucked out. The tree was in my neighbor's yard. I went back every few months, or every few weeks really, and those mushroom fruits just kept coming and coming, so I just kept going for it. So anyway, I'm gonna take this. Now, I don't know if I can show you what it's like to squeeze this out. Let me see if I can set my phone up. I kind of doubt that I'm going to be able to do this. Yeah, I might get lucky. Let's see here. Man, YouTube is a freaking anomaly for a guy like me. I have no idea what I'm doing, but there's not enough people in my neighborhood to give a crap about this stuff, so If you give a crap, you're watching. Yeah, see, there's not much left in here. But you can see it dripping. I just kind of squeeze it a little bit. I mean, you know, the dosage for this double decoction is like a teaspoon or a tablespoon a day. So, if I hold this for like, 20 seconds, I get a teaspoon or a tablespoon out of this. So it's worth it to just sit here and do this. The other batch was much more came out. But it didn't sit as long, so out of the container. Yeah, there we go. Obviously, I'm not going to put too much energy in this, but once it starts dripping by drops, instead of pouring as a steady stream, that's my cue to finish. And then I'm going to stick it in, yeah, there it's dripping. Then I'm going to stick it in the pot. And then I'm just going to fill it up. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's enough for me. I don't have the patience. So, now let's see here. I'm going to take this, put it in the pot, shake it off. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this up with water. Distilled water is preferable. I've got filtered water from my own sink that I filtered. And I'm basically going to cook this with water now. So I did the alcohol decoction for about almost 60 days. And now I'm going to do the water decoction. The lower the heat, the better. The lower and longer, the better. As far as I know, although I'm not a scientist in this regard. And, hold on, let me get the right burner here. There we go. I'm going to probably cook this for 2 or 3 hours. Some people say 1 hour is enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cook this for a few hours, and then I'm going to pull the material out. Yeah, see, it's white and cloudy. Part of that. I think that's from the alcohol that makes that milky white look. It's hard to see on the camera, but and then I'm going to strain all that liquid out. I'm going to take that mushroom material and throw it out. And then I'm going to take that liquid and I'm going to cook it down with the top off until it's at least this size. If I get this much liquid out of this pot, which is probably 3-gallon pot, and that's probably half a gallon, when I take this material out and I just have the liquid left, if there's a half a gallon left, I'll just mix it 50-50. That's the best idea. 50-50 at 95% alcohol allows this stuff to be shelf stable to where I don't have to refrigerate it, which is nice. That way I can put it in small jars, give it as gifts, I can sell it off at a market, at a festival, who knows what. But if it's more than half a gallon, more than this, then I just have to cook it slowly and let the moisture out until it condenses enough to be a volume that'll fit into this jar. And then when I'll pour it in together with the 2 jars together, I'll have nearly a gallon. I've already gone through quite a bit. this is a gallon. This was a mixture I made before. This is shelf stable, even though I don't keep it on the shelf because I don't need to. This was full, and I've poured it up into small jars about that size. That's not reishi. And that allows me to kind of give it as a gift. I have some jars that are about half that size. This, for example, is a good size. Anyway, I'm going to cook this for a while, for a few hours. I might even just cook it tonight with the top on and then take care of it to deal, and then turn it off tonight before I go to sleep. Then I'll deal with it in the morning, and I'm sure that that will be sufficient. And then I'll cook it down, and when it's ready, I'll take another video and I'll pour it up.